So, Australia won. They won a game. And I'm not going to lie, a big reason was, you see, Kristy Wallace. Kristy Wallace didn't play. I think that was a factor. I don't think it's the biggest factor. I think it was a factor in them winning that game. But they did beat Canada. And Canada are as good as out of the Olympics. Unless Canada can pull off the win against Nigeria, which they might do, they're as good as out of the Olympics. This Canadian team has been so disappointing for the players they have. Like, how do you have, like, Kia Nurse, Bridget Carlton, two borderline all-star level WNBA players, Aaliyah Edwards, who was early in the year getting shouts for Rookie of the Year, and I was very impressed. I'm very impressed, by the way, by Silas Swords. I don't think she's anything brilliant, like, right now, but she's 18. Like, she just turned 18. She's born 2006. So, she's so young. So, I'm very, very high on her as a future prospect. I thought she looked good out there for an 18-year-old. But this is a team that, on paper, should be as good as anybody. And they've lost to France. They scored 2 points in a quarter against France. I don't know what is wrong with this Canadian team, but there's just something seriously wrong. For Australia, Steph Talbot was pretty good. Magbagor. Sammy Whitcomb hooped. Sammy Whitcomb was very good. What she hit? Her first 2 threes in a row to start the game. Lauren Jackson, again, didn't do much. But look, as much as Lauren Jackson is one of the greatest of all time, she's 43 and retired a decade ago. Like, she hasn't played a good season of basketball since 2010. I was 13 years old the last time that Lauren Jackson played like an elite season of basketball. I'm about to turn 28. But the biggest thing is they went 11 deep. Technically, well, Amy Atwell played 11 seconds. They went 10 deep. Kristy Wallace didn't play. And I was looking, I was like, is that just a DNP? That's the wrong thing I clicked on. Obviously, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe, though. We're trying to hit 25.55K by the end of the day, and we're 25 off. But I was looking at Twitter, and I was looking to see, was it like a DNP coach's decision? Was it an injury? And it seems to be a DNP coach's decision. It seems to me that Kristy Wallace, a WNBA starter, did not get on in the Olympics. And if you are a Fever fan, or you've been watching The Fever, a shock to absolutely nobody. A shock to nobody. Look, I would assume that Kristy Wallace is considering the fact that she's playing all these minutes, I would assume Kristy Wallace is a really good person. I would assume that Kristy Wallace is out here, like, you could see, even while not getting minutes, she was like vocal, she was a good teammate. I would assume that, like, when Kristy sides is like, who wants Kristy, you're going to be guarding the other team's best player, she's probably like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do whatever it takes to win. I don't think attitude's an issue. Whereas for some players, attitude is going to be an issue. I think her attitude is exceptional, which is probably why she plays so much. But to say that Kristy Wallace is good at basketball is an understatement. She's terrible. Like, she's like legitimately terrible. And the subtraction of Kristy Wallace's minutes made Australia to beat a better team. And like, Kristy Wallace was the worst player on the floor in their first game. She was genuinely the worst player on the floor. And it's kind of a sad one because, like, this is purely, again, we are a mostly Indiana Fever channel, whether it be, I do apologize, I'm sweating really, really badly right now, whether it be Caitlin Clark, whether it be talking about Leah Bolson, Alyssa Smith, we're as much as anything an Indiana Fever channel, and Kristy Wallace is a relevant player. She's just been terrible, and she's been terrible all season. Like, coming off the bench last season, she was okay. She shot a decent percentage. She's shooting 26% from three. 26%. She's shooting worse than Lexi Hull, who's a notorious non-shooter. Lexi Hull's notorious for not being able to shoot, and she's shooting worse than her from three. Everybody's saying, oh, Caitlin Clark's shooting such a bad percentage. Caitlin Clark is shooting like 6% higher than her from three. And every shot Kristy Wallace shoots is a wide open three. Almost all corner threes wide open. On defense, she can't guard anybody. And it's not for the lack of trying, she tries. Like, a lot of people say defense is like 90% effort. No, athleticism is a big thing with defense. She tries real hard on defense. She's just not good at it. Her going to the basket, we saw what happened against Chicago. We saw her attempt a reverse layup against Chicago for game. Caitlin, that's your fault for passing Kristy Wallace the ball to an extent. Like, to an extent, it's your fault for passing Kristy Wallace the ball. But Kristy Wallace attempted a reverse layup, and I've never seen it. I've never seen a worse attempt at a reverse layup in my life. Just threw the ball up in the air and hope for the best. Like, and also, again, whatever the hell she was meant to have done in that play where Leah Boston hit the three against Chicago, I don't know. But Kristy Wallace isn't even getting on for her. Like, she's gone to DNPs for Indiana, and now she's getting DNPs for her country. And this is not a team that has Caitlin Clark. Like, this is a team whose best player is Sammy Wickham. Sorry, their best offensive player is Wickham, who comes off the bench for Seattle. So, like, they're not a brilliant team. This is as weak an Australia team as there's been in a long time in the Olympics, because you don't have Liz Cambridge. You don't have a healthy Lauren Jackson. Well, she's 43. You don't have, like, prime Lauren Jackson. You don't have some of these other players. So this is a weak-ish Australia team. They lost to Nigeria. And she looked out of place on the floor against Nigeria. She didn't look good against Nigeria. Like, she's not a WNBA level player. And she started. For everybody being like, oh, the Indiana Fever have this, like, way better team than a Chicago Sky, or way better team than other players. Other teams. She started. She's not even good enough to play at the Olympics for a country that's probably not going to win a medal. They might go win the medal. They might get bronze. They might fluke it. But, like, she's not even good enough to play for them. How is she meant to be good enough to play for a Fever team that's looking to compete for a playoff spot? Not only play, start. She started the first, what? She didn't start the first, like, 2 or 3 games. She started, like, 10 games in a row. She was a starter. She was not only a starter, she was put guard and the other team's best player. She can't even get on the court for her country team anymore. And I hate to say this because she seems like a lovely person. She seems like a great teammate. Even off the bench, she's the first person giving high fives. She's the first person celebrating with her team. She's out there trying to win. She's a great team player. And I think that's what the issue is. I think whether it be Sandy Brandalow, I think, in fairness, they hadn't played enough games prior to that. I think she just played Kristy Wallace because she was a WNBA player and realized, okay, yeah, we can't do that. But for Kristy's sides, I'm guessing her attitude is unbelievably good. I'm guessing she has the best attitude ever, and she's great in practice. She's great with the other players, and she's somebody that you just want to reward for their attitude. I would assume that's the case. She's probably a great player to have on your team, especially because she's on a minimum deal on the end of the bench. Cool. But she's just not good at basketball. And shown by the fact that her team starting to give her DNPs correlates with the team winning a game after getting upset massively when she played a lot against us, or not Australia, against Nigeria. She plays for Australia.